Hello, and you're listening to You Still Going On About That with myself, Rob Israel, and
Joseph K.
And you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Castbox, and Podbeam. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it. Tell your mom about it. And while you're at it, we also have a Facebook page. You Still Going On About That. Again, like it, join it, comment, share it. And thank you and enjoy. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right. Well, you coerced me into talking about this movie.
Right.
We go on about this movie.
Yes.
Which is what we do. We go on about things.
Exactly.
Keep going on about.
Kind of our thing.
Yeah. You were at my house and you brought up a movie that I've always despised.
Yes.
You didn't know that, but you said, I watched this movie the other day.
Well,
the greatest movie ever made.
All untrue.
Your words.
No, I said I had rewatched the movie Reality Bites. That's the movie.
The Ben Stiller directed, starring Ben Stiller.
Danny DeVito produced.
Starring Winona Ryder.
Yep.
Ethan Hawke.
Yep.
Janine Garofalo.
And
that guy.
Billy Zane? No,
Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, look, I hated it in the theater because I saw it when it came out in the theater back in 1994.
I saw it in the theater too. Again, was it like an 8-year difference in our age?
Yes.
So
yeah.
You were like 60 and I was 16.
Right. Well,
That's how math works, right?
I was their age, I think. Like
you were definitely, because she's like just graduating college in the beginning of the movie, right?
Yes.
It's like it's a camcorder video of her she's the valedictorian, which is like ridiculous. But we'll get into that.
It should have been made specifically for me, and I hated it when it came out. Now I watched it again on HBO like a week ago, and when
was the last time you saw it?
In like '94.
Okay.
I saw it in the theater once, hated it. Never saw it again.
I don't think I ever saw it again either, but for some reason that movie like stuck with me. I remember some scenes and I despise that movie. I was 16. Like that, if you're saying that movie's like your age, I should have been like that movie should have been like aspirational for me.
Yes.
I should have been like, yeah, these people are cool. I want to be like that.
Right.
I'm 16. I'm going to be in senior year that summer following, and I saw in theater, and I was like, I fucking hate this movie. I hate all the characters. I want it to die.
Right.
And that's kind of a strange, that should not be. I should be like, they're playing cool music and everyone's cool in it.
Well, I thought when I saw it in the theaters way back in the day, I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
Yep.
And I saw it again like a week ago.
Steve Zahn's again.
Steve's on. That's right. And I liked it. I liked it in the sense that it was really cool going back and seeing a movie that was supposed to encapsulate my youth. And it was like, this is how 30-year-olds perceived 20-year-olds to be.
50-year-olds.
40, yeah, okay. At the
Coolest
time.
50-year-olds.
Right. Well, it's a weird thing, because the script was written by a college kid, and it got produced into this movie. She got paid like $70,000 for it. It was all based on her friends, and like some of her friends sued her because she didn't change their names. That Troy, whatever his name was, the Ethan Hawke character, that's a real dude with that real name.
So they were all based on real people.
Yes.
Which is funny because I thought they were just all
yeah, right.
Like I consider, okay, so just before we go into further, usually we talk about movies we like.
Yes. And we usually talk about movies that are a little fantastical, like science fiction or horror.
Right.
Yep.
Or even like I say, we talked about like Fight Club, but to me that's fantastical.
Yes,
There's lots of fantastical elements in it.
Right.
I'm trying to think, is there any movie we talked about that's like really grounded?
No, this is the first.
Yeah.
There's nothing supernatural, nothing...
there was Solo.
Well,
when we talked about Akira.
Right. But there's nothing supernatural, nothing genre at all about this. It's a very big departure for us.
Yeah, this is like a romantic comedy, basically, almost.
Yeah.
Grunge 90s. If you want to be my babe. Like, that's kind of like this movie. Like, get your hacky sack, wrap your what is that?
Flannel.
Flannel around your waist.
Right.
And let's get hacking, baby, because it's Reality Bites time.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and I guess we'll talk about this.
Oh God, I hate this movie. And usually I'll talk. Okay, just make an analogy.
Yeah.
To me, this is like, Rogue One. My biggest complaint.
Yeah.
It's a different movie, obviously, but it's like you're introduced to a bunch of things.
Yes.
People, and they all represent something, but there's no characters.
Right.
This movie to me was like. It was a bunch of things, and everybody's saying things. Maybe there's a little more character development in this movie than Rogue One. So
sure.
But it's kind of almost not. It's almost the same thing. It's like she's a girl that works at the Gap, and she's another girl that's not sure about things.
Right.
And that's Ethan Hawke.
He's a rebel.
There's Steven Zahn, who's a guy.
Right.
And then Ben Stiller, who's like the man.
Well, it's funny that, and
he's not cool.
I think we talked about this via text. Is that you're supposed to love and root for all of the kids and think Ben Stiller is like not the villain, but like he's the guy.
He's the guy you're not supposed. You don't want to be him.
He's like the guy in 16
out.
Candles, right? Like he's the pretty boy with the Porsche or whatever that Molly Ringwald does wind up with. But, like, you're not supposed to like him. You're supposed to want Molly Ringwald to wind up with Ducky, And in this, it's like you're supposed to root against Ben Stiller, but I found Ben Stiller to be very relatable in this.
And he was the one who directed the movie.
Right, and it's an adult.
The guy directing the movie gave himself the best part.
Yeah, right?
Weird.
Well, I don't know. It was, Okay, so
let's just get into it. So, Reality Bites is, like you said, this is like... The movie Singles came out a couple years before that.
Yep.
There's a glut of movies like this around this time.
Yes.
Empire Records is one.
Yeah.
That kind of came out a little after. Dazed and Confused, even though it takes place in the past, is around that time period.
For me, the big three that were meta, meaning like they were about Gen X, were Slacker in like 91, Richard Linklater.
The same guy made Dazed and Confused.
Yep. And then Singles, which was like 92, and then this one, Reality Bites, which was 94. And I thought they decreased in quality significantly.
Well, Singles, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I've only seen parts of it, and I never saw
Slacker.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
I've heard about it.
It's good, yeah.
It's more of an indie film, though. It's
absolutely
very low budget, right? It's
like no budget.
It's around the time period where like indie darlings were starting to come. This is like, Kevin Smith with Clerks, and like all these the Tarantino Revolution and Ben Stiller had a show on Fox called The Ben Stiller Show.
Yes, and
it was it was like it only lasted one season, but Janeane Garofalo was on it, Andy Dick was on it.
It was pretty influential.
I think. The guy from Mr. Show, the one who plays, he's in Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, was in Bob Kirk was in this.
There was
a lot of people on the show. Right. It only lasted like one season. I think I had a DVD. There was some really fucking funny things though in the show.
I remember.
There were some things I didn't like about it. Like Ben Stiller, seemed like he was obsessed with himself. It was really weird. I remember rewatching the show years later, and I'm like. I don't know. I guess he worked out a lot, so he'd do lots of flexing. It was really weird, and he did a Tom Cruise impression, which was kind of funny though. But he had a couple of skits. One of them was making fun of Alf. It was called Socko or something. Skank the Sock.
Okay.
And it was the dad was literally a dirty sock with googly eyes, and it was making fun of Alf and all those shows of and he would just say disgusting things, and it was probably the best part of the whole.
Well, he came from. Wealthy Hollywood connected family,
right? Jerry Stiller and
what's her face?
What's her face?
Mears was it?
Mira Stiller.
No,
I totally forgot her name.
Yeah, well,
but she's dead, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
We don't have to see when people die. You don't have to look them up.
Right.
You just move on.
Yes.
That's not how.
But he came from he
is definitely a
Hollywood royalty.
Yes, he's part of Hollywood royalty. Now, are they the biggest stars? No, but they are connected, and they will get his in. And
right,
not to say he's not talented.
He's very talented,
but just like old Hollywood, though. Getting in's the hardest part.
It is.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, just look at Pauly Shore, right? I mean, like...
Yeah, right? She ran the comedy store.
Yes.
I mean, we're making jokes about like how Trump was like a mob boss.
Right.
Guess what? I bet you talk to comedians, they would say that she was... The way she would operate was probably like a mob boss.
Right.
She could crush and destroy people's careers.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And what was it called? The Comedy Store in L.A.?
Yeah.
Like every famous comedian came out of there. Literally everyone. If you didn't... Around that time period, if you didn't like survive like you probably didn't go anywhere. So then, here comes Pauly Shore, the son of the lady who could destroy lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son's gonna be in a movie, and you like it or not.
Right.
Weasel.
Next thing you know, we've got... I forgot about that.
God, he was
we've got Encino Man. So,
yeah. Which was Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
He said the best line ever. Gazungas.
Because
he was a caveman. He liked boobs.
That's right, yeah.
And then he went, Weasel.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah, that was... He wasn't funny.
No. But... Reality Bites.
Yeah, back to Reality
Bites. It had a A-list cast.
Yeah, Winona Ryder is like top of her game there. Ethan Hawke's like a budding star. Again, though, what's funny about this movie, all of these stars in the movie. I don't know about Timothy Zahn, about his past.
Right.
Every main star, and I don't know about Jean Garofalo. I think might actually be like an actual self-discovery, like an actual, like, I don't think she has like...
I don't either.
I could be wrong.
I don't know that.
One Wikipedia search away.
Sure.
You can look it all up. But the main stars, Ben Stiller, Ethan Hawke, Winona Ryder, are all Hollywood legacy hires.
Yes. Big. Because
Winona Ryder I didn't realize that. She comes from a famous family.
Yeah.
The Winona Ryders.
Well, her last name isn't really Ryder. Like, I remember I Wikipedia'd all these people today and yesterday and I tried to do some deep reads on Reality Bites. Well, and that's where I discovered that and it certainly shows the script was written by a woman, and which was rare at the time to have a woman produce a script.
Lady.
Yes, to have a woman in the writers' room, and she
how progressive.
Right, and she wrote this while attending USC in California. This is
the one that got sued.
Yeah, because she didn't change the fucking guy's name. Like the guy's name was Troy, whatever his name was. And like
it was such a stereotype to me. Like, what's so funny is I know like a zillion people like this guy growing up.
Right.
Yeah, just change his fucking name.
Yeah. Right.
He could sue you basically just because of the name.
Yeah.
If not, you could just say, well, like, yeah, you're you, and you could say that you're familiar. But everybody has a friend like this guy.
Yes. Right.
They're all archetypes.
I was
There's no
that
personalities.
Guy. Yeah.
Everybody, they're all archetypes.
Yeah, and the archetypes are you have. Winona Ryder was kind of the tortured artist, did a little directionless, trying to like find her way, and
she's not really. She's a valedictorian of a college. What college did she go to?
I don't remember. Well, it took place in Houston. Is the movie was supposed to take place in Houston? They filmed a ton of it in Houston, and the rest of it in Los Angeles.
I was gonna say I didn't feel like it was in Texas, but
there's a few scenes.
I guess that makes sense because I was like watching the movie. I'm like, what the fuck's Winona Ryder's mom sound like Southern Belle?
Right, yeah.
It's nothing like her.
Well,
I guess that makes sense now.
There's a couple scenes. Remember the scene where Ethan Hawke and she are walking and they have coffee and cigarettes and that's supposed to be like a famous building in Houston. And I guess I've never been to downtown Houston.
Okay.
But there's supposed to be like recognizable landmarks there and stuff like that. And I thought that was weird because the other big one, Slackers, in Austin, Texas. I thought it was weird that like a lot of these came out of Texas.
But this is not directed by Linklater. It's Ben Stiller.
No, it's Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
But and then you have Ethan Hawke, and he's kind of the grunge, tortured soul, directionless, James Deany type of character.
He's also a massive douchebag.
Yep. Like all these characters are so unlikable.
Jeannie Garofalo's character is like supposed to be. Well, what's funny is he sleeps around.
Oh
right?
yeah, right.
But she sleeps around. She's the whore.
Well, that's
already like that's a bad. And she gets. There's like a scene in the beginning where she's like.
Well, she almost got Jennied.
Yeah. Yeah, she did actually,
right.
Or almost. So when you're watching the movie, you forget like it just like out of nowhere. You're like, oh, she's filming a documentary.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even like realize. I'm like, she's like filming her friends. So like half the movie, you realize all of a sudden it's like Real World. And the Real World was already on at that point. It was on a couple of seasons because it came out in like the early '90s. So I think we might have even been up to the pup years at this point.
Right. I wouldn't swear to it, but
this is very Real World. Early Real World, not later. Real World, when it first came out, was more like Reality Bites. You
Yes.
had more characters like that. And then throughout like the mid to late 90s, it just became like frat bros and sorority chicks. And it was like, it was not what it was. It just became like drinking and...
Well, it's funny you say that about the two characters. The first time we meet Troy, Ethan Hawke's character, he's slipping out the back door because he slept with some woman, and he gets her number and he throws it in the lawn, and he skates.
Yeah.
And that's also how we first meet Jeanette Garofalo. Is she some guy, and she spent the night together, the guy gets up and leaves, and she writes his name down in a journal.
Yeah, her whole thing is that like a guy's not going to stay with her anyway.
Right.
And
it never makes any sense, because she's, like Winona Ryder's character said, she's the one who like loves him and leaves him. But, yeah. All right.
So that's already like a shitty comparison.
Right.
I mean, whatever.
And then you have the Peter Scolari wannabe character. You have
the Steven Zahn character.
Yes.
Who's just some dude with glasses. He's just there. He's like a friend. He has like, literally has like, he's just there.
He's
he might
just there.
Make a quip.
Right.
And then like halfway through the movie, it's like a scene where he's with Janine Garofalo and he's like telling her how he's going to come out with his mom.
Right.
And you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't care.
So
because I don't know who you are. You're that friend with glasses, and that's cool.
Right.
I guess.
And but you know, like someone, who knows, like how he was in the original script, but you know, someone was like, you know, we should really have a gay character in here. And there was like a weird. Look, I wonder.
How progressive.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how progressive.
I mean, early '90s. That's a big deal.
I was going to say, I wonder how progressive it was, because I remember being around in the early '90s, and it
was already starting to like. You started.
Well, Philadelphia was out.
Well, that's late '80s.
Philadelphia's late '80s.
No, that's not true. No, it took place in the '80s.
Yes,
I saw it in the early '90s.
I was going to say, I'll bet you, because that came out around the same time as Schindler's List.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater with some people, and my favorite was there's a Saturday Night Live commercial.
Yeah,
you know the commercials they do.
Yeah.
And man, it was so fucking funny. Where it's like Philadelphia for kids, like action figures.
Oh no!
And you gotta see YouTube or Google search Philadelphia action figures, and like the James Robard, the evil character, and they had like different action figures, and then like look, it's his life mate, and he's a transformer. And there's like a Starscream figure, and I had like his face on it, and it's done like a G.I. Joe or Transformers commercial. It is fucking hysterical because it's the serious drama about like. A guy who was basically like suing his
it's very
former law firm.
Yeah.
It's about gay rights and AIDS rights and all that. And
there was a lot. I wonder, like, if it was like trying to be intentionally progressive or edgy, because the
you're talking about Reality Bites.
Yes, because the one.
Or you're talking about the fake commercial from Saint Life.
Because the one character, they're
just like it's like they're checking off everything.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. That's why they didn't have. They were missing like a black friend.
Yeah.
Or like
that's
somebody because it's white. It's just white.
It's super white. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like when, and I remember that line because I remember seeing it in the trailers all the time whenever I was wearing that dress and Ethan Hawke's like, you look like a doily.
Oh yeah.
That's what this movie looked like.
Yeah.
It looked like a doily.
Well, I don't know. It's funny.
It's just like it's checking off everything.
It really
is. We got a gay dude. We got a girl who thinks she has AIDS.
We got a flannel guy.
We got a guy who sings a Violent Femme song and it's horrible. Right. You got a Andy Dixon and he plays a sleazebag.
Yeah, and there were actually two famous musicians, or at the time famous musicians. Do you remember? The guy from Soul Asylum, Somebody to Shove.
I mean, I know what they are, but...
He was in the movie.
He was? Where did he play? Is he just in the background?
Yep, there's the scene.
Oh, is that scene where they're, like, hanging out? There's, like, another girl there, and like, I think she's with Ethan Hawke?
No, this is it's a video scene where they talk to Jeanette Garofalo's character, and she says something about, like, her future husband
works at the
or whatever.
Gap.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a fucking commercial.
And Dave Pirner from Soul Asylum is in the background, and he says something like quippy. And then at the very end, remember we'll kind of jump to the very end, the fake Reality Bites at the very end, like post credits. The guy playing Troy is Evan Dando from the Lemonheads.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I guess he was big.
Oh, Evan Dando?
I just remember there was a zine called like Evan Dando or something that got big.
The Lemonheads were that one album. It's a Shame About Ray was amazing. But okay, we're digressing here. But
that's all we do.
Yeah, right. Lemonheads. I'll tell you, that one album was dynamite. It was really good.
Do you like? Oh shit! I don't remember the name of the band. It was like two guys. Like one dude was just like fat and hideous.
Oh, you're talking about? Were they like a funny band or?
No, they were like a.
Screaming Trees.
No.
Not I Nearly Lost You.
No, it wasn't them. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah.
It's just some '90s shit to me. It's like Dinosaur Jr. and all those.
Oh,
bands.
okay, yeah.
It's just like this fits in perfectly with that.
Yeah. It's funny. I always if you had asked me I don't know, even a couple of weeks ago before I rewatched Reality Bites, I would have conceptualized myself as a product of the '80s. I would have said that's. I'm an 80s person. I listen to 80s music.
Right.
Not today. I mean, I listen to modern music and everything, but that's how I would have
But when that movie came out, you're basically the age of those people.
Yeah, I was an early 90s. That's when
That's your formative, your
my
early 20s, your early to mid 20s.
Yeah. I graduated from UCF in 91. And it's funny, I moved out to Portland, Oregon, right when grunge was kind of taking off. I think Pearl Jam had just released their second or third album. There was an established thing yet. And so that was kind of me, which is weird that I didn't identify with the movie when it came out, but I really hated
was it just because it was pandering? And
I think so.
Well, okay, so you remember, like you said, we talked about this before when you said, hey, when we do this, or
right.
I was like, fuck it, let's just talk about this movie. And I think we could just talk about all 90s culture,
sure.
and it's specific, grungy. It's the grunge section.
Yeah.
All these movies to me are just like you said, it's a flannel shirt wrapped around someone's waist.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Manic Panic.
Yeah,
Pixie haircut.
Right.
And
that was It's so funny because it's a pretty accurate caricature. I mean, it's that was kind of life for a certain segment of people.
So you told me so 91 or 92 Singles comes out.
92 Singles comes out,
and like I said, I've seen most of it. Matt Dillon's in it.
Oh yeah.
What's her name?
Bridget Fonda's in it.
Bridget Fonda.
Yep.
And a bunch of other people, and I think the guy from there's a bunch of band. Eddie Vedder's in it.
Right, Eddie Vedder's in it.
Alice in Chains, I think, plays in it.
Yes.
What's that other one? The Black Hole Sun Band. What are they
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden.
Yep, they're in it.
Yeah, it's but the thing about that movie is that was almost it came out at the perfect time.
Oh, it did.
Where it's almost I'm sure people in the scene people from that area probably hated the movie, or they were this is exploitative, or probably. But on a general view, it was this is fresh, or this is it's just at the cusp. It's just as these things are blowing up.
Yes.
And this movie's a couple of years later, and it just feels it's the Dunkachino of
Well, I'll tell you, Singles Singles had a couple things going for it. One, it was written by Cameron Crowe, who's a legit writer. Who's
he's actually done things.
He's very talented.
Yeah.
Even if you don't love it, you're well, he knows how to write dialogue. He knows how to develop characters. Second, that soundtrack was fucking dynamite. Every song on that soundtrack was good. And the Reality Bites soundtrack, a lot of that shit, the most famous song on it was from the 70s. That My Sharona, that wasn't a 90s song. It was a weird mix. So, and thirdly, Singles had it was in Seattle, which was the epicenter of that culture. I mean, it had a lot of cash to it. Right. And lastly, the cast was some really good actors. I mean, a lot of the peripheral actors. I think Kira Sedgwick was in it.
There's a lot of famous people in it.
Yeah. So Singles was really good. I mean, I don't love it, but it was a very technically proficient movie. And the characters, they weren't some of them.
Ben Stiller's mom is Mira.
Mira. What? Oh, I said Mears. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Right. Well, anyway, Mira. Is it Mira Stiller?
Maybe.
Mira? Who knows? But yeah. So Singles came out, And then by the time Reality Bites came out, the scene was kind of over, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people said Reality Bites, like, captured the zeitgeist of the moment, but it really didn't. It was, like, written probably in, like, the early 90s, and then by the time it got made, it was, like, it got made after it was over, you know? So...
Yeah, I was already, like Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain was dead.
Well, I think it might came out in the spring, and I don't know. It just, like I said, this is like... He directed a bunch of movies in the beginning, and he, you know, I'm really looking at them now. Like, he did Tropic Thunder.
Oh, that was so good.
But, like, he did, like, all these other movies. You know, he did Zoolander.
Yeah.
He did Zoolander 2. That wasn't very good. Walter Mitty wasn't very good.
No.
Man, Walter Mitty.
I never saw it.
Okay.
It
That
looks
movie was
terrible.
literally a commercial for Cinnabon.
Oh.
Like, I cannot handle when, like, I'm watching a movie. So that's one good thing about things like Star Wars and, like...
Right.
Most Marvel, even though Marvel has been known to, like, they have done product placements, but they're usually, like, pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Stop the plot and be like, let's go here. Even
Right.
though that's not true. They did do that. You know what? I'm going to stop myself there.
Okay.
That's why I like things like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. They usually aren't going to sit there and be like, let's go to Cinnabon.
Right.
You know, or it's in a world and they can't force advertising. But, like, some of these, like, comedies and some of these movies, like, especially, like, Adam Sandler films that some of them are just notoriously horrible for like just plugging in advertisements, making it part of the plot. Like I remember watching that Walter Mitty movie and like Patton Oswalt's in it or something, and they meet up and he's like, "Let's go eat at Cinnabon," and I'm just like,
geez.
"Who the fuck?" They just met. I'm like, "Who does that?" Who's like, "Hey, let's go get a disgusting dessert place and stuff ourselves whole." Yeah. I don't know.
What are you gonna go to the airport or something?
That's why I think they were in an airport, but still, it's like it doesn't even matter. It's just like bad advertising. But he puts out Reality Bites and then he does Cable Guy. And both these movies, like, they're weird films because it's like they're trying to be funny. Well, Cable Guy, I think, I remember seeing Cable Guy in the theater. That came out like a year or two later. And that's the Jim Carrey movie. So Jim Carrey's like literally at like his hottest moment right here.
Yes.
He did Ace Ventura, he did The Mask, and I think
but
he
Cable
does
Guy
Cable Guy
like
right after that. And I remember going to the movie, and everybody was like nonstop laughing at it. They wouldn't stop laughing in the beginning because it's Jim Carrey. They're like, you're supposed to laugh,
right?
And I remember like halfway through the movie, the laughs got slower.
Yeah, I'll bet. Right?
Because it wasn't a funny movie.
No, it was like a disturbing.
He was like
movie.
a totally deranged character. He was like
it was like Cape Fear, but
kind
with a Cable
of,
Guy.
but like goofy. And Ben Stiller was like, I don't know. I always find him like this movie and that movie, like he's trying to make like poignant things, and they just don't work.
Well, yeah. I think, look, it's hard to tell what went wrong with Reality Bites. I think some of it was timing. I think some of it, look, the script to me, and I'm not a writer. I write a lot, but not a writer.
I just think the characters were annoying.
Well, it seemed like, look, the person who wrote it had a ton of great ideas. And she fit all of her great ideas into the script, and they were all going to get in there, period. Like that, the thing that bugs me the most is like, okay, remember the famous scene where they're in the gas station and they're buying food, like Diet Cokes. Yeah. They're always buying Diet Cokes and cigarettes and Pringles. And My Sharona comes on, and they have a dance party in the gas station. Very, iconic scene. And,
iconic.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a very famous scene. And
for the movie.
And then, but like right before that happens, Jeanette Garofalo's character comes up and she's like, hey, some Evian water. Did you know Evian is naive spelled backwards? And she made it like a big deal. And I was like, I know that.
There's like a 12-year-old who's saying that.
Right. And I know, like, I know how it is when you get a really good line in your head. You want to cram it in there so bad.
There's some bad lines. There's a line that Ethan Hawke's character says to Winona Ryder in the end, and it's...
There's a bunch.
I just wanted to get the lines right on this. So I found like a bunch of quotes, and I found the one that is like literally. And I remember even like, again, this happened pretty recently, but I thought it was so fucking cheesy. And again, I'm 16, 42 now, watching this. Mm-hmm. I'm 16, and my thoughts have really not changed. In this movie. I don't know if I'm like that does not make me wise. It's just this is a terrible movie. Winona Ryder's character, Lelena. I just don't understand why things just can't go back to normal at the end of the half hour, like on the Brady Bunch or something. Troy Dyer, Ethan Hawke. Well, because Mr. Brady died of AIDS, things don't turn out like that. I swear the farting camel lizard monster from episode 1 shows up and farts.
Yeah. You see Jar Jar stepping in.
Oh no, Mr. Brady has AIDS. Bad Potter.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of bad lines in there.
Yeah.
And they look. I know how that.
And all of them were delivered by Ethan Hawke.
Right.
No, they were. He was
Winona
the
Ryder
worst
delivered
character.
some bad ones too.
But she's adorable.
She's so adorable.
Yeah. She's hot. So she can say whatever she wants.
I'll tell you, man.
Just kidding.
That's one
right.
of but that's one of the things that really struck me is before I sat down, I was flipping around and I came across Reality Bites like a week ago, I said, and I was like, oh yeah, Winona Ryder and blah, blah. And I remember thinking briefly, like, I wonder why I was so into Winona Ryder, because her Heather's character's kind of weird. And, and Beetlejuice, she was like...
Well, what's funny is I never really found her attracted in, like, Heather's or in, Beetlejuice.
She's a kid, yeah.
I was a little kid when I watched it,
right,
too.
Right.
I was like, sandworms.
But
I still like that, sandworms.
Right.
And then shrunken heads and and fingers, eyeballs on fingers.
Yes,
but like it's not really till around this time period that and I just think it's how her look, like the short hair, and I always worked with her and everything, and she's like, this is like where she's at her prettiest. That what was it, Girl Interrupted?
Yeah, but she's very disturbed in Girl Interrupted.
Well, the funny thing about that movie, which is not a funny movie at all. She's not really crazy.
No,
they would talk about this was the late '60s or something. They were
basically the Sylvia Plath story.
Well,
I know
she's
it's
sent into
really,
an institution. They would send women who just were not following. If she showed any off the wrong path in any way, they basically tossed her in. But she's in an actual institution with actual nuts.
I know it's not. I know this. I know.
Made her hot.
Oh God, yeah. I know. I can fix her.
She's crazy, but she's not that crazy. She'll burn my house down.
Right.
That Angelina Jolie character.
But
the one who literally burned houses down, but her face was burned.
Yeah.
The one from Mad Men.
Oh yeah. Well, I always thought Girl Interrupted was kind of loosely based on the Sylvia Plath story. Upper middle class ennui. She wrote she's a poet.
Okay.
Anyway,
Did she know it?
No. Well, Sylvia Plath.
She didn't know it.
Sylvia Plath was married to another famous poet, Ted Hughes, and he ran around on her, and then while her kids were in the living room, she drank a bunch of vodka, put her head in the oven, and killed herself. This was in the 60s, and it was kind of based.
Whoa!
Yeah, and then her friend Anne Sexton, who was also a very famous poet, got really jealous of the fact that Sylvia Plath had garnered so much attention by killing herself.
So she stuck her in an oven?
She killed herself, not with an oven. That's
Take that! Right. I'll show her.
Yeah. So anyway, we're digressing
here. That didn't pay off.
But Winona Ryder was super pretty in this. But anyway, here's with the dialogue. I know how it is. The author or the writer had a bunch of great lines, and she's going to smush them into that script, no matter if they make sense or not.
Isn't this Ben? He did the Ben Stiller show, but I think this is his first movie.
It could have been
directing it. I don't think Okay, so you told me some funny stuff about behind the scenes. You said that he wanted Janine Garofalo gone or something like that.
Yeah,
which I found interesting because she was on the Ben Stiller show. Andy Dick's in there for a little bit. He was on the Ben Stiller show. I think there might be one or two other surprise Ben Stiller show characters in there.
Well, you told me that, and okay, so I read in my deep dive, in my research on this film, because it was just recently the anniversary of it. The 25th anniversary
of Reality
Bites. In February of this year, 25th anniversary of it. And they had a showing in Tribeca, and Ben Stiller did a panel with all.
He apologized to everybody first.
Well, he did it, and then Lisa Loeb came out and sang "Stay" at the end. Yes,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, so
I love Lisa Loeb.
Yeah,
because it's I think she knows that she's just she's fully aware.
Right.
She's done a lot of funny stuff.
I saw her in concert. She opened up for Chris Isaac.
She showed up in some TV show where she's dating. Oh, that's what it was like. It was a recent show
with Weasel Zappa.
No, there was a recent show on NBC. It was a guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh,
and it's about the high school, and she's. It doesn't matter. She was. It was really funny.
Anyway, so I forgot where I was on this.
Okay, so he did the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller was there. Lisa Loeb came out and did the song.
Right.
'Cause that's in the end credit scene.
Yes, and so like this, I think I was going with the writing is like all of these lines get delivered. So I think that was it. We were talking about the quips.
Well, it's just like there's no, like you said, it's like she wanted every idea in there.
Yes.
It's not edited.
No, and this is the other weird thing I read is that that's what we were going is I read in this deep dive that Ben Stiller wanted Jeanette Garofalo off set, hated her, and he said she was always drunk on set and this that and whatever. And Winona Ryder stood up for Jeanette Garofalo and kind of kept her there because Winona Ryder was the big star at the time.
Yeah.
And you said that's funny because Jeanette Garofalo was on Ben Stiller's show.
Yeah.
I looked it up again afterwards because I was wondering if I had read it wrong. But no, that's the story.
That's probably why she was in the movie. And I remember even because I watched the Ben Stiller show,
mm-hmm.
and it was on like a year. It was on a couple of years before this movie came out. And so when I saw her in the movie, I'm like, oh, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was directing it.
Well, she was like a known quantity at the time. I mean, she was kind of
she was
hip.
She was hip and like she was a comedian.
Yep.
And like I said, she was on that. I think she did Saturday Night Live like a year or two later.
Oh,
she
yeah.
She hated it. She was on for like one season. She was on like a whole bunch of shit. And then
she was fine.
And then she was like, did Air America for a couple years. And then but yeah, she's in this movie. And like I said, so she would show up drunk and that's it. It's like, that's
that was it. I mean, there's not like
okay, I just found that interesting because I'm like, I thought they worked well together while they had her in the movie. She was fucking in the Ben Stiller show, so I just figured it was like, well, I liked working with you, so I'm going to continue this on.
No, the way this article was framed was that Winona Ryder was kind of the hero of the movie. She's the one who championed everything, and she was like real into the script that the woman wrote.
She's fine in the movie, like, and I'm not just saying because I think she's like that. I mean, like,
but she totally is. But yes,
yeah, but she's decent in the movie. She's a
good actress.
She delivers the lines. It's just like Ethan Hawke's character is like a total douchebag. Like you're not.
Right.
I have no sympathy for his character. I mean, like, there's a thing with his dad and everything, but he's just like such an like when Ben Stiller like lays it on him. That's like the best part of the movie because everything he's saying is true.
100%.
He just like nails him. He's like, yeah, you're that fucking guy. Like,
well, you know, the other thing I read about the script is that when I saw
that guy sued.
Well,
call him Troy. And he also made him out to be a massive tool.
until like a week ago, I always thought that reality bites meant that reality sucks.
Like now we're out of college and now we have to be in the real life. Reality bites.
And everyone's story, and they swear to it, I don't know if I believe them, is that they never intended it to be taken that way.
How was it supposed to be taken? That's how it sounds.
That at the time, that's when the expression sound bites started to get very popular. And that a sound bite was like a moment that was kind of absent of any context that you could kind of make malleable and change. And this makes sense. The woman said when she wrote her script, these were supposed to be bites of reality, and that kind of lends you to think, well, maybe that's why the script is so disjointed.
That's not how. Even like when I was younger,
and
I'm like reading about the movie like a year before or like months before it comes out, and seeing the trailer. It's like, here's a bunch of young people and they're gonna drink, do do do,
right,
do 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 do.
Yeah, my Sharona.
And then all that other shit, and then you say, and then there's fucking grunge, and it's MTV, and it's real world, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, reality bites. Well, Ethan Hawke's a bad boy, and Winona Ryder's a girl, and that other guy wears glasses. He has a secret.
Yeah, right.
He has no character. And the other girl's a slut. Reality bites. Because reality bites.
Well, that was it. I thought that was the thing.
No, that's not what it means.
No.
We're talking about sound bites and a bite. And
the
bites of reality.
If you think about it,
that's not what the marketing said.
No, that's not what the marketing said. But it kind of does add up. Because, like, I know you said you never saw Slacker. But Slacker was essentially like 30 short films.
Well, I mean, like, what was it? Like, remember, like, Mumble? Like, there was like a term for it. I think like the Duplass brothers.
Yeah.
But it's just like low budget. It's like, this is like a different animal. This is like...
No, this was big Hollywood.
This is like mainstream trying to pretend to be indie.
Yeah. It really was. And
like the scene when... Okay, so like... I guess, like, I'm watching the movie, and I forget, I'm like, I guess she's filming a documentary?
Supposed to be.
And she's dating Ben Stiller. And Ben Stiller's character, I guess because he is the director, it's like he's not the main character, he's, like, in and out of the film a lot.
Right.
And he disappears for a while, and then he shows back up. And he, like, brings her out to New York or something?
Look, there's a lot of that that's difficult to follow.
And, like, he's like, I got a surprise for you. I guess he stole her camera? And, like, stole her video?
Right. And then
makes a documentary, but the documentary comes off like the real world. There's like footage and it's really funny. It's like the best scene in the whole movie. I remember. It's like I remember watching it because it is just funny. It doesn't even matter what it is. It's like the cheesiest. Like it's like Saturday Night Live made it.
But it honestly looked like a lot of the MTV produced stuff at the time. Yeah.
And the joke, but I'm like watching it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would this even happen?
Right.
And then she's like pissed at him for doing it or something.
Right.
But I'm just like, it literally just comes out of nowhere. It makes no sense. I'm like, wasn't even aware she was really making a documentary. I just figured she was taping her friends or something.
No, because they set that up ahead of time. Because remember the scene where Fraser's dad is there?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Fraser's dad's in the movie. I forgot.
And he's a dick.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, she also sucks as like an employee. Yeah. She does not do a good job. He is an asshole.
He's an asshole.
She's terrible.
Right.
So it's a bad combination.
Okay. But remember she keeps trying to say to him like, hey, Grant, check out my student film or whatever. And he's like, I would, but you suck. So I'm not going to look at it.
He is an asshole.
Right.
Like,
and then there's one scene where she wants to show him. And then you do see her working on the film like here and there. So when I watched this a week ago, I was like
I'll be honest with you, I was drawing and stuff when I was watching.
Exactly. I was not drawing like my little stick figure. A stick figure with a circle. It's Captain America.
Nice.
I was like fucking around on my phone and just doing random stuff. I think I was
pictures of Winona Ryder.
Right. Right. Yeah. But I wasn't following it closely, but I did notice a bunch of scenes that set that up. I know,
but it just feels like I said, it's just like, it doesn't even make any sense. It's like, it's kind of crazy.
It is.
And,
well, it's weird, too, because she's like, look, she was the valedictorian, and then they set it up like the whole...
she was a slacker.
Right.
And I'm just like, you were the valedictorian in college, you have a nervous fucking breakdown?
She didn't feel like a slacker, and her parents...
You don't be the valedictorian of a college and be a slacker.
No.
Unless you have a complete mental breakdown. And then the movie's something totally different.
Well, in the beginning, I guess it was supposed to be a film, but I always got it felt like a dream. Because she's up there, and she's like, class of so-and-so, blah, blah. If you want to know how to save the world. And then she's like fumbling through her notes, and she's like, I don't know. And then everyone cheers, and she smiles like that kind of like adorably fetching smile. And but it felt like a dream, like, you show up to work not wearing pants or something like that, but then I guess you're supposed to think that's also part of this filming thing, because then the next thing you know, they're on top of a building. Yeah, and
it's like super cheesy.
Yeah, it really is. And it's all these little...
It really was like a movie, but then it was like the real world.
Yeah.
It's so weird to like talk about this movie and like I hate it. Yeah, it's like, but then again, like it just comes. There's like a whole collection of these type of movies, and
right?
Like, I mean, I could just like.
Well, I know my brother and I talked about this briefly because like he is much younger than me. My brother, I was 16. Well, I was 16 when he was born, and so like there's a pretty significant age difference, and he was arguing that like there's other movies that kind of fit into this. Into this genre, and I didn't really know if I believed that.
I don't know what the hell the genre would be, but it's slice of life, day.
Well, there's a group of actors, and they called them not the Rat Pack, not the Brat Pack, but the Frat Pack.
That wouldn't make no sense. They're not frat. The Grunge Pack.
I don't know. Anyway, but go.
So like, I'm just looking at like 10 movies like Reality Bites, 200 Cigarettes. Which, like, that came out in 99. Sure. That's supposed to be, like, in the early 80s or something. But I could see that. Singles, which obviously we talked about.
Yep.
Valley Girl, which to me is just, like, so much older movie. And by far much better.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that completely. Yeah, Valley Girl was significantly earlier. Nick Cage. Who was the girl in that? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember Colin Camp was their mom.
Yeah. And that was a great movie.
Yeah, for some reason, like we would get posters from Movie Land.
Mm-hmm.
We would just get posters, and I remember having the poster up in the basement of my house of Valley Girl for years. And
that was early 80s.
I never saw the movie, and I just remember the poster is totally deceiving because she's dressed up like a Valley Girl, but in the movie she doesn't look anything like that. I don't even know why the movie's honestly called Valley Girl. Like there is some mallish stuff and like that, and I think of the Frank Zappa song, but the main character is like. It's not represented in the poster. It's totally like The Last Days of Disco, which I never even saw. Mermaids,
oh, I saw that. That was not...
Two young women, Chloe Sevigny and Kate Beckinsale, and their friends spend time. Mermaids, which came out... That's Winona Ryder also, right?
I don't remember that being...
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
With Cher. I would say, I don't know how that mixes in. I mean, no, but Empire Records totally... Yeah. Empire Records is like, Pump Up the Volume, 1990.
That's earlier.
Poison Ivy, no. These movies, this is terrible. Sons of Beverly Hills, this is a shitty list. Don't tell Mom the Babysitter's dead. No.
Look, I'll say,
this list. Empire Records is the only one that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like if you thought Reality Bites was bad, watch Empire Records. If you were like, I need the characters to be even more generic and more lame. Yeah. Empire Records. Guar is in it.
My brother Matthew argued that he said Boys in the Hood and Do the Right Thing are the same type of movie. They're just not included in it because they're like black films and not like the pasty white films.
Say no.
I would
disagree on that.
Did you see Do the Right Thing?
It's a group of people. Oh, Do the Right Thing. Yeah, I did see that in the theater. I was younger. I would say no because
Mookie is like a directionless kind of slacker.
Yeah, except there's no riot in the end of Reality Bites. There's no.
Well, yeah, okay, they're not.
I don't know. I don't think I get it, but definitely not Boys in the Hood. Your brother is smoking something. Was he like smoking a blunt? It's like it would be a great.
No, he's probably like. Well, I would say.
Would be a really good one. Gandhi was just like Reality Bites.
Well, when I said that we were going to talk about
Academy 3,
I said we were going to talk about Reality Bites and maybe associated movies, and he said, "Do you mean Singles, Slacker, and Clerks?" He tossed Clerks.
Clerks, I think, fits in there, but again, Clerks low, but super low.
I can see
Clerks to me, like, always felt like I remember people were like, this is going to be like the '90s version of what was the one she did before that show in Penn where he was like a surfer dude, Ridgemont High.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I felt like Ridgemont High just felt like a high school movie. Coolest because it was like in this rich kid thing. It just felt like it didn't feel like I didn't associate with these characters. I'm like, I would get it if you were making like Ridgemont High, but it's like the '90s, and you put it in this like again it becomes more fantastical,
right?
And it's not like I don't know what these kids are like. I don't live this life, but like then you get to like, if you're gonna make a movie and make a House Party would be a good example.
Okay, yeah.
Not Boys in the Hood.
I can see.
But House Party's like a slice of life type of movie, and that makes more sense.
It's been a million years since I saw Boys in the Hood. I remember that being a little.
Yeah, I remember the drive-by and the end of Reality Bites, which I thought was awesome. I was like,
well,
they
I will
everybody.
Say, I do think.
I mean, I wish there was a drive-by in that movie.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, okay. Let me go back to. I guess I'd been meaning to say this earlier, and I didn't. At the beginning of Reality Bites, you know that scene where Ethan Hawke and Winona Ryder are having dinner with the parents.
And her parents are divorced.
Right. And the dad's like, I'm going to give you a BMW or something.
Yeah, a gas card or something.
Right. And like Winona Ryder's all bitchy about it, and like the kids, they're eating like steaks or whatever, and Troy is being like a dick. He's like, my dad's dying of cancer. It's not like addiction.
I'm an asshole. Right. My dad's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm better than you.
But I don't know. I mean, like, did you look at that and say like how unlikable they were?
I mean, this came off like little shit.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, of course, the parents are like, you gotta be in the real world, blah blah. But it's like, oh, poor you. You're getting a fucking BMW.
Right. But I think the film wanted us to root for them and be like, those parents don't understand.
Yeah, those parents giving a gas card and free fucking car.
And I didn't know.
Well, the mom was like, I don't know.
Right. Well, the mom didn't even get it. She's like, didn't you listen to her speech? She doesn't want a BMW. But, like, I don't think that was it either. Like, I mean, I guess the point was that the parents don't understand the kids, which is, like, the point of every movie with parents and kids in it. But
I would say that's, like, usually the plot of every Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah.
The parents always, like, never believe that the kids have, like, horrible dreams. They're like, yeah, that's great. I'm watching TV.
Right. And the next thing you know, they're like, Mom, did you give me sleeping pills? And
yeah, they
like,
do. Yeah, that's always in the movie. Mom, why'd you do that?
Did you drug me? Did you
Mommy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the parents sucked in those movies. They were like complicit with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, but then there was that scene. But then there was that scene in Reality Bites where like Winona Ryder used her dad's gas card.
I didn't realize that she was so she gets fired from a job.
Yes.
Even though she deserved to get fired.
She did.
She intentionally did it.
Right, because she made the guy say I like young girls or something.
Which was awesome.
That was good.
But, like, what is he, Ron Burgundy? Like, the joke was Ron Burgundy would be like, one of the funniest jokes was, like, whatever you write, Ron Burgundy will say.
Right, yeah.
Which is, like, a joke, though, because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
So I guess this character's a complete doofus, too, like Ron Burgundy, that he would just...
Yeah.
He wouldn't be like, what?
That was stupid because like I could see him and they set up the joke. They're like, I need my rushes. I need my, he's an
arrogant prick.
But then,
or some people would say a professional.
Yeah, but then the first time I could see misreading the first card. He's like, I like young girls. But then
he would be like, we got to stop this.
Right. Then he goes to
there's something going on here.
Yeah. You wouldn't read the second card that basically says, because I'm a prick. I mean, like, that didn't make any sense.
And I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I mean, I know it's just little things like that drive me nuts when you're like, well, people wouldn't act this way. And you're trying...
Ben Stiller, since this is a Ben Stiller movie, bring this up. There's a movie Ben Stiller was in, and there's a scene in the movie that, and I always tell my wife about this, it's where he has a laptop, and throughout the movie he's a writer.
Okay.
And the joke was he buys a house, and the deal is, though, it's like a con. He finds out it's a con. It's like he has to let this lady live there.
Okay, this is kind of sounding familiar.
And he's like the landlord for this lady, but the joke is she pays like no rent, and she's absolutely horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a trap, and it's a scam that you find out the real estate is actually her son.
Oh, okay.
And they run a scam, and whatever. But he has a laptop, and all his writing's on there.
Sure.
And there's a scene where it goes in the fire.
Okay.
And every movie I see where there's something like that, where the person has all their information on it, I call it fucking laptop in the fire.
Yeah.
And I fucking hate that. Anytime I see that, it makes me angry because it's like so stupid and it's like it drives me nuts. I'm like, this is the laptop in the fire scene.
Yeah.
This is the laptop. And I know that's like, I'm like, I don't know what it has to do with Ben Stiller, but I guess just because I'm watching this movie, and anything with Ben Stiller, I think of that.
But you're right. I mean, there are scenes where you're like, well, people, that would never happen, or like, you would have safeguarded against that. But
it's just so, I gotta
not Frasier's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, not Frasier's dad. Yeah, and that's why he ended up, that's why he ended up on the couch.
Right.
And Frasier was singing about toast salad and scrambled eggs.
That's why he got kicked off the force. Yeah, it was, I don't know.
She gets fired, and then I guess she's like, she's not paying rent, and there's like the cheesy lines. Again, it's like framed like the real world. Where Jeannie Garofalo's character's like, I work, and she's like, well, this is my place. I let you live here.
Yeah.
And she gets on like a big bratty rant.
And there's that other scene where like Jeanette Garofalo very kindly says to Winona Ryder, hey, you're hired. I'll let you start at the Gap.
Yeah.
And Winona Ryder's like, I'm not working at the fucking Gap.
Yeah, she's too good for
that. But that actually was a nice scene because you could see someone saying that and then quickly realizing like, well, I didn't mean it like that. Basically when you've shit all over your friend's, vocation or whatever. It was a good scene. I mean, I guess that was a good scene.
Right.
It was just
the movie was called Duplex.
Oh, okay.
Laptop in the fire.
That. Yeah.
And her son is Harvey Fierstein.
Oh,
and the old lady was Eileen Essel, and his girlfriend or wife in the movie was Drew Barrymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So don't watch that movie; you'll get very angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's like a scene where, and I remember seeing this in theater, and I realized it later. She just starts like going to a gas station, and because she needed to get money.
Yes.
But I guess she was giving everybody free gas.
No,
with her gas card.
Yeah. What happened is, let me see if I remember the sequence right. She she slept with Troy or something, and then Troy left, and she got real sad, and she called the Psychic Friends hotline.
Right, and spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
$300.
Yep.
And
400.
Well, yeah, and then she needed to pay off the bill.
Yep.
And so she went to a gas station and basically loitered in like blue jeans and a crop top red t-shirt, and sunglasses and bright red lipstick, and told people as they pulled up, hey, and you could see her kind of whispering, they didn't show the dialogue, but give me cash and I'll fill up your tank.
And they gave her tips too, obviously.
Right. Yeah. And they gave her money. And so she charged like $400 on her dad's card, but she got $400 in cash.
So she could give the money, but then she's like, well, we also have rent or something.
Exactly. Like she gives $400.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, rent is due in a couple days. And I don't know what came of it after that. But like,
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
After that, Troy sang a Final Fantasy song.
Right. Well, and I guess that goes back to the problem with the script, is that this woman who wrote the script, this is like first album syndrome, where like every good idea you've ever had goes onto that one thing. You know what I mean? But like you cram
that gram.
Everything that you've thought of winds up on there.
Right.
So,
you don't want to miss a note.
Right.
Because it might be it.
Right. So she probably had a friend that did that, and so that's in the script. And she probably had a friend who commented that Evian is naive spelled backwards, so that's in the script.
And that Mr. Brady died of AIDS.
Right, and that was in the script. And like every clever or funny thing she had heard over the previous 5 or 6 years.
There's some good cutscenes when she's like, and that's why Alf never got the cat.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah. Well, and so like.
That's why Mr. Belvedere always helped out with that.
Right, yeah, Mr. Belvedere. But then, so towards the end of the movie, it's weird because it starts out. If you watch the first half of the movie, you might think it's and let's say you didn't know anything about it.
It's a comedy.
You might think it's a comedy, quirky.
Right, because even from the average, it's like, oh, you wearing a doily?
Yeah, maybe indie. I mean, if you knew the actors.
Fun movie.
Right.
Not a slow, hard
Not a fucking slow, like, say anything, John Cusack racing to the airport bullshit movie. Like,
right.
Say Anything was awesome.
But at least you know what you're getting into.
You know what you're getting into.
This movie is...
And towards the end, you have, like, that scene. It's like a weird montage where she's going to, like, go to Chicago to track down Troy, and the taxi leaves, and then she realizes the taxi wasn't there for me. It was dropping Troy off, and he's wearing, like, the Joker's suit from the new Joker movie or something. It was like, ugly brown suit. And he's like, why so serious? No, he's
that line when he says... Pale Moonlight.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You ever dance with the devil? Leilana.
Now, I think in this one he says, have you listened to Adam Carolla or the recent Joe Rogan podcast?
Well, and then all of a sudden it's like this weird serious movie. And it ends very oddly, right? Like, because, like, he says, like, I've always loved you. And then all of a sudden you're in a traditional love story or whatever.
It's... yeah.
But then, okay, so... Previously, there was no indication that they were going to be lovers.
Yeah, the fact that they end up with each other, man. Sorry, spoiler.
But did they? I mean,
like they do. They're singing a song, and they have a house. They're together.
Oh yeah. But yeah, right.
It ends with
you're right.
They got together in the end. Like she didn't go with Ben Stiller because I guess she felt betrayed or whatever. And in the end of the movie, they ended. And I feel like the movie was like a little better. They wouldn't be together. Right. It would make more sense that they would not because that's not how life would work. That's not the kind of character he is. Maybe like 15 years later, if they found they fell into each other again. Right. But at that point in their lives,
after sunset,
they're like toxic.
Before sunrise.
That's on the list. You're talking about the movie where
is it Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke? Right?
Yeah, that's where I like him.
Yeah.
That's where I hated Ethan Hawke for years because of Reality Bites. It made me angry because I hated his character. Because the thing too is like I never found him to be like he's supposed to be like the dude in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be like a guy in the movie,
right.
but I don't buy that you're
not
the
lead.
dude.
Yeah.
No.
Right. You're not the James Dean.
No.
You're not Dylan McKay.
You're
like Brand.
Schmelling.
Yeah.
Schmelling.
You're maybe David Green.
the guy from Wonder Years' brother's friend.
Well, I don't know. So, and
you're boning from Growing Pains.
You're right. They wouldn't have, because this is. I know I referenced 16 Candles earlier, but like at the end of 16 Candles, Molly Ringwald winds up with.
Well, Ducky is like the thing about Ducky's character, and he's very different from Ethan Hawke's character. Ducky's like a punk guy, but he's really kind of a dork.
He's a dork,
and he's just there. Like he's not sleeping around. He's not like a thought like Ethan Hawke's character is like getting shits all the time, and he says like poetry, and he thinks he's above everybody, and he's like, it doesn't look like he took a shower in like a couple weeks.
Right.
Ducky's like, he's just like the friend. Like, yeah, dresses like punk, but he's more of a nerd.
Yeah, you're right.
And she's not going to end up with him in the end, because that's not what she really wants. You're rooting for him.
There's a segment of the population
he's not
that wanted.
He's not an alpha male. He's not. I hate that terminology. Right. But his character is
Ducky the soy boy.
He's a soy boy, libtard, beta cuck.
Right. So, yeah, but there's a segment of the population.
More like, instead of duck sauce, more like soy sauce.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But there's a segment of the population that wants Molly Ringwald to wind up with Ducky, and it didn't happen. I
feel like that's years later. I think when people saw her in the theater, though, they knew that she would never be with Ducky. She was going to be with that guy, the romantic lead. I don't know. I didn't see it in the theater. Right. I feel like as the movie ages and evolves, and it becomes more like cult or like...
That's true. Like
people,
now...
like... They root for Ducky. They're like, Ducky. But
like now, people think Velma was like the more interesting, pretty one.
That's
now, but like
back in the day, it was Daphne. I know that's how they sold it. But even when I was a kid, I knew Velma was hot. Velma was the hot one.
No, Daphne was clearly the pretty one.
Well, Daphne was supposed to be the pretty one,
right?
Because that's what they're telling you,
right?
But I knew when I was younger. I'm not kidding.
I believe you. Yeah.
Some guy. Oh man, I don't even know if I want to say this on the podcast. I did an event recently.
Okay.
And in Austin.
Right.
And I was selling all my artwork, and there was this guy talking to me, and he said something about I don't know how like Velma came up, but he was talking. He's like, I guess someone was selling some artwork with like the Velma, like Scooby Doo.
Okay.
Like,
was it like normal Velma or like pin-up
not really.
Velma?
Yeah, mine more like that. He's like, we were told we were supposed to like Daphne, but we really like Velma. Because we knew what's under that sweater was all those goodies. And I was like, he's like trying not to crack up, and he told me that. I'm like sitting there. He's like, she had all those goodies under that sweater. And I was like sitting there, and I'm just like looking at him. And I was like trying not to crack up. I was like, yeah, I know what you mean, buddy. Yeah, bro. That guy made me crack up. I was like, and he's like, it's so funny because I'm just like looking around. Anyone see this? Like, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm like,
I may be asleep.
What?
I may be asleep right now, but I think you just said,
I'm awake now. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, Velma was that one.
Yeah, no, clearly in retrospect.
No, I mean,
they're
both pretty.
Right.
In their own ways.
Exactly.
Some people like a Daphne, some people like a Velma. Some people like a Scrappy. Everybody's got their... Or Dum Dum, right? Remember the dumb one?
Yeah,
he had the slow Scooby. I guess the intelligent Scooby.
He was the googly-eyed Scooby.
The googly-eyed gremlin Scooby.
Whose sole purpose was to look stupid as fuck.
Are you talking about the googly? Are you talking about a googly-eyed whose sole purpose is to be stupid as fuck?
That was it. All right, I guess this is the end of Reality Bites.
I mean, I don't know why we talked about it. Oh, okay, it's like another one. I will say this. If you want to see a movie that will make you think Reality Bites is better, watch Empire Records.
Right,
so
that's
that
a bad one.
You have something even more to hate.
Right.
Now, I know lots of people who love that film.
I've never met anyone who loved it.
Okay, so... I being younger than you.
Yeah.
And then I would hang out, and I knew some girls who were a little bit younger than me, So when that movie came out, let's say I was like in my early 20s or something. Like that. First of all, the only reason why the movie, I remember when they first talked about the movie, it had the girl from the Aerosmith videos who happened to be the guy's daughter.
Yes.
So creepy.
Right.
Hey,
Arwen.
Hey, how you doing, Liv?
Yeah.
Hey, guy I just met. I'm your dad. Oh, cool. Hey, Dad. I don't know, get some dinner. Yeah, I got an even better idea.
Right.
Why don't you get dressed up real sexy and be in one of my videos? I'm skibbity bop bop boo. And that, wouldn't that be great? I mean, that's not what I wanted, but...
Right, yeah.
And then... I don't know how that conversation
I'll
went.
bet you that's eerily accurate.
With the skibbity bop bop boo. Did he do that? That's more of a...
Oh, no, that was him.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm getting him mixed up with the guy from Van Halen, the original guy.
He also did that, actually.
Do you think they would get into a battle?
Yeah, like a scat battle.
Or it just ended up in like a coke-raged fit. That's all it was in the end. It's like it all ended with them just doing coke off of me.
Yeah.
So
doing lines of ants off the swimming
piss and ants. So, okay, so I was gonna say Con Air.
Yeah.
No, what's the name?
Well,
yeah, might as well.
Sure.
No, what was it? I just totally forgot the name.
Empire Records.
Empire Records.
Yeah.
So this movie, and it had her in it. She was kind of like just the girl in the movie, like the aspirational girl.
Yeah.
She's like not even in it that much. It's like a first
No.
movie. She's not a bad actress in real life.
No, she's fine.
This is this great video she did recently though. I don't know what the fuck it's about, but I could see if I can find it on YouTube. It's bizarre. It's like it's not a bit. It's not acting. But you would swear you were watching a Christopher Guest movie.
Oh.
Like it's her. Like I don't know if she's on a reality show.
Is it like a Parker Posey kind of vibe? Or?
Yeah, someone said that. They're like this. Like you would think Parker Posey's playing this Christopher Guest, but it's not. It's Liv Taylor, and she's just being herself.
See, because I could see Liv Taylor as the Parker Posey character in Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head.
I remember like this video. I gotta find it. Like I said, just do like a YouTube search. Liv Tyler now, like showing her house. I think.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the best comments was, "I thought this was Parker Posey and Waiting for like a Christopher Guest movie."
Yeah, that's
and it's
in
not.
my head
It's
right
like legit. Okay, so this movie was like another one of these bullshit like high school scene grabbing, whatever teen angst movies. Empire Records.
Yeah.
And soundtrack the movie.
Yeah.
And we got the girl from the videos.
Yep.
And it sat on a shelf for a while. I don't think it ever actually got a theatrical run.
I remember it being sold as like a soundtrack first that also incidentally was a movie.
Right.
And honestly, I've never seen Empire Records start to finish.
Okay, well, one guy in the movie was from Dazed and Confused.
Okay,
he's like the real stoner dude who's like talks about George Washington. Like,
the guy with long hair and a beanie.
Yeah. He's like you wouldn't even recognize him. He's the guy who kind of like sets up the plot of the movie. He like fucks up something and they lose all their money and they have to like get money and they do like an event. So she's like the aspirational girl in the movie. There's another girl in the movie played by a famous actress. It's like her first role.
Oh, okay.
She's from like the one where she plays the British lady that's kind of heavy a little bit. Like that's her whole thing. She got heavy. Like, oh no.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Bridget something.
Oh.
She's the one with like the squinty eyes. Like everyone makes a joke about her.
Oh.
Renee Zellweger.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Robin Tooney's in it, and she's like a goth girl. She like shaves her head. She was on like The Craft.
Right.
I mean, it's so bad. I can't even like. It's like, I mean, it's a lower budget film than Reality Bites, so like it's more forgiving. And I don't think it even came out in the theater. I think it was like one of those movies. And like I said, I'm in like my early 20s when this finally came out. I think, or maybe not even. I think it might have been in like my late teens. But like I knew people when I was in my early 20s where it started to become more of a cult film. And I knew people who were like girls who were maybe like just a couple years younger than me. And they like made me. This one girl I was hanging out with. She made me watch the movie.
Yeah.
She's like, "This movie's awesome." I'm like, "No, this is not."
Right.
I mean, I guess it's slightly entertaining if you like shoot your brain. You know, I hate when people say like, "Yeah, if you just shut your brain off, you'll like it." I'm like,
I don't get that.
Well, I want to keep my motor functions going. Like, what do you mean? Like, how much of my brain am I shutting off?
Can I keep the reptilian functions, like breathing? And
like
pulse,
which part are we? How much am I shutting off? my heart gonna stop? Like,
well, it's weird. I like I'm trying to think of movies comparable to it. Maybe like look, I recently watched The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman.
The one where he's like, "Are you gonna
Are
fuck
you
me?"
Are you flirting with me?
Oh, that's it. He didn't say that.
He doesn't say fuck.
This
Yeah.
is Roger, you gonna fuck
But like
me?
when I watched that, it was almost like the movie wasn't that great. I know it's supposed to be a very good movie, but like it was just such a cool piece, like very evocative of a certain of its time.
There's a lot of movies that like people will tell you are great.
Right.
And then you see it and you go, it's of its time.
Exactly. And
it's not that great. It's great of its time.
Yes.
Some movies don't age. Some movies age really well.
But I really appreciate it because it's of its time in the sense that like, oh, now I get to see what that time was probably like. Yeah, it's an artifact. It's a great way of putting it. And like you see like weird incidental shit. And like it's funny because with Reality Bites, with that scene when Winona Ryder tracks down the Peter Scolari character in the diner, and she's like, "Did he go back to Chicago?" And
you mean Steven Zahn character?
Yeah, and he's like, "Yes, but you're not supposed to know that," or something like that. And I remember thinking, like, "Oh yeah, they didn't have like cell phones or social media back then," and it was like.
Can you explain to people who Peter Scolari is? I don't think... I mean, I know who you're talking about, but I feel like people listening to this going to be like... Okay,
who the fuck is
famous,
Peter Scolari?
Famous for two things.
Famous.
Bosom buddies.
He was Tom Hanks' roommate and bosom buddies, and he was Stephanie's boyfriend in Newhart.
Okay, well... Tom Hanks would bring him back something. I would say the most current thing he was in...
What was he in?
The show Girls. He played her dad, the main girl.
Oh yeah,
I forgot her name.
Right,
that show Girls, which I don't know why I watched that show. I hated that show. I don't know. We just watched it.
Right.
But Kylo Ren was in it.
Oh yeah, Adam Driver. Right.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that show, and when they casted him as Kylo Ren, I
forgot about that. Yeah.
Was there's a scene in season 1 or 2 of Girls where he literally beats off on a girl, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I wonder if that's what got him the role as Kylo Ren." Like it's the funniest. Like I'm just like
Order 66 all over. Right.
Look at my clone army on.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So that's who Peter Scolari.
That's the most recent thing. He was in something else too.
That's funny.
He's been in like popping up here and there. Tom Hanks was like good friends with him, so he would like hook him up. Like obviously add the two. They both were in this stupid show. I think Bosom Buddies lasted like 2 seasons.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it did. Like there's a couple of famous people that come out of that. The woman, the main woman that's like Tom Hanks like trying to get, or maybe it was Peter Scolari. I don't know. One of them was trying to get one of them.
Yeah.
She ended up being in Spies Like Us, and she married Dan Aykroyd.
Okay,
and she never did anything ever again.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's all that Crystal Skull vodka money.
Yeah. Well, that's so funny because that totally pigeonholes me. Like that is like Peter Scolari is part of my like cinematic.
Okay,
universe.
well, let's want to explain Peter Scolari. So
right.
because he mentioned his name a bunch of times.
Yeah, he's like
it's like you know those kids today, and they're just like, yeah, man.
Hey, Google that shit, man. I'm not gonna
Google
do it for you.
Yeah, what the fuck, Dad? Google it. I get people like sometimes that leave comments on my page.
You know what shit I Google each day?
Yeah,
you know
I'm like, I don't know. You can just like I sometimes I sound like a dick saying that, but I'm like literally can just Google it.
Right.
Like, I mean, I could give you like a half answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Google it.
Sometimes it's more fun if you work for it.
Yeah,
you know?
earn it, man. I
right.
had to, like music. Remember back in the day, you had to Google like seedy parts of town.
Right.
You had to go. I had to go to New York City. I had to go all over the place. I had to go over the village, down and other parts of downtown to get like bootleg CDs and like rare imports, or even just like a record or something I haven't seen before. Something like
go to open mic nights at CBGB's.
Yeah, no, I did actually.
Yeah,
and like I do all this stuff, and then like I'd be talking about bands, and like I had to like earn this. I had to know people to know about these bands. I had to read zines, and I remember like I was at work, and this guy was like 10 years younger than me, but enough to like make a huge difference.
Yep.
I told him about this band. And he's just sitting there, he's downloading the whole fucking album.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he's like, I think we were talking about like MC5 or something.
Right.
And I'm just like, and he's like,
oh yeah. I'm kicking out the jams currently.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck you. I had to find out about that. I had to hang out with cool people to figure that out. You fucking piece of shit. You don't know. I had to earn this. I had to earn my cool.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean anything to you. I had to hang out with shitbags to get to know this band. I had to know this person to know this person to figure out that one to get there. And I had to go to the right store.
That's it.
Yeah, and now these days it's just like.
I remember going to a record store and asking for albums by like bands whose names I got wrong, and then like the record clerk would be like, "Do you mean this band?" And like, yeah, it's a whole anyway. So
kids, man, they'll never understand it. Our sorrow, our
but
pain.
That's the thing is
They're
like
better than us.
they still are.
The access to things.
But that's the thing is like with this, it's of its time, but it's also a cool artifact because during that scene when Winona Ryder runs into the Peter Scolari character, he's like saying like, well, you got to, and then I was like, shit, that's how it was back then. You didn't have cell phone or social media.
Beepers.
Right.
That's it.
If that. And those were horrible.
Those were horrible. I never got one. I knew people got them. I'm like,
right.
Okay, so I'm going to call you, maybe you'll respond.
I worked
by a payphone, and I'm just like...
for a few years, I was a child protective investigator.
That makes sense. You need something for that. If you're a doctor or a drug dealer.
Yeah, right.
Every profession required it.
Yes.
If you're just some, 16-year-old kid...
No.
The fuck?
But it was a cool artifact in that way. Like, look, would I recommend Reality Bites? Like, probably not. But I will say, look... If you're
looking for a mediocre time,
if you
like Winona Ryder,
if you like Winona Ryder,
peak Winona.
It really is. She is firing on all cylinders. if you are my age or like slightly older or slightly younger, if you're in like this rough ballpark and you want to kind of go back and quasi remember what it was like and nitpick on some things and compare and contrast your experience. It's like a fun hour and a half to spend.
What was it? Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that would fit in. I don't know why that didn't get pulled in. If they were going to pull in Valley Girl, why not pull in Breakfast Club? Breakfast Club has a group of characters and all archetypes, and there's a lot of cheesy lines. And my favorite is Judd Nelson with the... Gee, Dad, we gotta go fishing. You know what? You get paid in the garage. You die. I don't know. He has that fit. That's the best part of the movie.
Well, I would say it's funny because, in my head, Breakfast Club is clearly pre-90s. It's a product of the 80s.
Mid-80s, early 80s.
The Judd Nelson character is a proto-grunge character.
Yeah, he totally is.
I mean, he...
Because he's not really a metalhead. No, he's a total grunge. He's grunge. Pre-grunge.
Yeah. In fact, I'll bet you if you came up with 10 characteristics of a grunge character, and you said you got to meet 7 of these 10 to be a grunge character,
he'd be 5 of them, maybe 6,
he
maybe all of them.
He's
just in the wrong time period. He's just he's in 1985. He should be in 1991.
It wouldn't even stun me if he was patient zero for the grunge character. Seriously.
Probably would.
Right. Someone, because think of late 80s, people start dressing like him, and then the next thing you know, it's 91.
Well, wasn't the joke about Seattle was people dressed like that because it was fucking the weather just...
Yeah, it's
that's how people dressed out there.
And
there's a great documentary about Seattle and that whole scene. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they just talk about how ridiculous it was and the clothes and the stuff they would wear.
Was it called Hype?
Might have been.
Okay,
is that in the end when they reveal how none of these buildings were here before, Seattle, all these buildings, they're on a rooftop and then they turn and they're see these. None of these buildings.
I don't remember that part.
Okay. It might have. Well, they just talk about the grunge scene and everything, and
I'll bet you it was Hype. That was a famous, yeah.
And they talk about just the fashion, how ridiculous it was. They're we were wearing Wranglers and shit, anything was. Stuff we bought fucking Kmart,
oh yeah,
and it just became this trendy thing, and all of a sudden it's outfits are going for $300-$400 more than that.
Yeah, and they kind of briefly allude to that in Reality Bites, where there's a commercial for a Yo MTV Raps type of deal.
Oh, and there's her face is in it. There's a famous actress that's
but they're selling Donna Karen bandanas for $70 or something, and it's funny because I'm they probably are selling bandanas for $70 now. It was clearly such a big joke at the time, but
they probably were at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie was it was trying to be edgy, but it was not edgy.
No, it couldn't sustain its edginess
because it was product. That, like, it's like, Slacker makes it's indie. It's
absolutely.
budget. It's like it's the guy's first movie. Clerks. It's like guy films
Clerks,
it black and white. It's edgy. There's like, and you forget when you see movies like that, you forgive it more. I always say this thing is like, when people say what's the worst movies ever made, I will never put movies like Trauma or any of these movies in the list because those movies are like endearing. They're genuine.
They're scrappy
like,
underdogs.
I mean, when they're garbage, they're garbage. There's like shitty action movies I would watch, like low rent action, like karate movies. Like those are garbage. Like that's made by people who are just like, we got a guy here and we're gonna have him fight. But really, this movie's just like a cover to sell drugs. Yeah, like this movie's made by the
money
mob.
laundering.
This is a money laundering scheme. But then there's like movies where it's like there's some heart into it, and like, and I forgive those movies, and that's like, and I know Breakfast Club doesn't fit in that because that's really a mainstream movie.
Oh yeah.
But it's so much older. And I was a little kid when I saw that movie. Like,
Breakfast Club is so great. I mean, that works on every level. I think it's pretty timeless too.
I guess it's just better. It's like, I think also because they're all in the one room, like the way the dialogue flows and like the relationships and how it grows, like it feels organic. While this movie, you're just thrown in the middle. Hey, we're just a bunch of friends. We're all hip and cool. We hang out at a gas station. We get Pringles and cigarettes and Zima or whatever.
That was the
it's like a quick cuts and like edits and like shaky. There's all the shticks.
Right, and I don't want to bash the writer too much because
did she ever do anything else?
I don't. That's a great question.
Oh man, I gotta look. It up.
But like, look, Breakfast Club was written very well. The dialogue was believable. It was delivered.
It's
very
literally
well.
done like limited sets.
Yes, could have been a play.
It's most yeah.
And there's this one scene in Reality Bites where Troy and Leilani are fighting, and Troy's brought that girl with him, and they just go back and forth. And look, it's like super Gilmore Girls-esque speed.
She did a bunch of
dialogue, but they're like spitting the language back and forth, and like people don't talk that way. They just don't talk that way,
right?
I mean, like that's. And look, with the Gilmore Girls, it's
a TV show.
It's a TV show, and it's done for effect, and that's the joke, is that they're like that. They're hyper literate and witty.
It's
and
very like my wife likes it because it's very Woody Allen-ish.
Yes, I love it. I like Gilmore Girls a lot. I know, but like when you're watching that, the charm of it is that people don't talk that way. That's like part of the charm is that people don't talk that way. No. They talk that way in Stars Hollow. Not anywhere else on the planet.
Everyone's quipping.
Right.
It's like, it's like rapid fire dialogue. People don't speak like that. If they did, everyone's on speed or something. Something's in the water.
Right. But to some degree, like 30 Rock was like that. Like, people don't talk that way.
Well, 30 Rock's a complete farce.
Right.
I mean, that show is like borderline ridiculous.
Yeah. But
because the problem with Reality Bites is that it's not genuine. You're not. I totally forgot. Oh, that was the other. There's another movie, and I don't want to forget before we end this. Suburbia.
Oh yeah.
Not the. So there's two Suburbias. If you guys Google Suburbia, there's two of them. There's one. It's like a Roger Corman punk film.
Yes.
From the early '80s, and Flea's in it. That's an awesome movie.
Yep.
And when I say awesome, I mean like it's not really. It's an artifact.
Right.
It's worth watching. Like I think. Flea's in it, and he puts either a rat or something in his mouth.
Yeah, this all. Yes.
It's an interesting movie. Is it good? I'm not gonna say it's good.
Right. Yeah. Whatever.
But at least it's endearing.
Yeah.
Then there's another movie that I fucking hated so much, and I only saw it once, and I refuse. I will never see this again. We gotta be so desperate to talk about a movie.
Right.
I'm just getting it out of the way. It was Suburbia. And the funny thing is, the guy, what's the name? What was the character?
Peter Scolari.
Peter Scolari character, Stephen Zahn, is in this movie.
Yes.
And I watched this film, and it's just like this was really originally a play, and they made a movie.
Yep.
And Giovanni Ribisi's in it. He's like playing like kind of like the Ethan Hawke character.
Right.
Stephen Zahn's in it. He's playing a different kind of version.
Yeah, a little.
Well, he's just a druggy like.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, they're just like douchebags. They hang outside of 7-Eleven. And I remember like my sister told me about this movie, and I was just like,
right.
Because I reminded her of these people or something, and I was like, fuck you, you don't know me. You don't know me. And I was like, man, I'm not good.
No one understands me. Velma understands
Yeah,
me.
Velma. Yeah. I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven now. Sit outside.
Yeah.
Take a big gulp.
Yeah.
No, but if you want to talk about like a patronizing, pandering, annoying film, Suburbia. Yeah. I'm sure those people will probably love it. I thought it was garbage.
Yeah, I remember. I saw it once. I didn't like it.
It's like
it didn't leave a lasting
image. The main plot of the movie is like, again, they're all like hanging out, like, directionless. I think they're in their early 20s. And there's a guy who was considered kind of like a loser in high school, who was into music, but he was like playing like marching band, and he becomes like a huge, successful like musician.
Right.
And he comes back to town, and he's like shows up in a limo. Parker Posey's like his manager or something.
Yeah, I like Parker Posey a lot.
I like her, depending on what it is. There's some things like Superman Returns.
Superman,
no,
right?
she's horrible, but that was a horrible movie. So,
yeah.
I saw her one time.
Oh,
in
really?
New York City at the dog park in Union Square.
At the dog park, did you say?
There's a dog park in Union Square. And
did she have the busy bee? Did she have?
What?
Did you ever see Best in Show?
No.
Wasn't that her?
Yeah, it was the same dog. Yeah. The best is their whole relationship was based around the dog. And they're like, I was at Starbucks across the street from the other Starbucks.
And there was another Starbucks.
Yeah. And they were obsessed with the dog, but then they had like a pug in the end, and they were like having sex, and the pug just sitting there like watching them. She just looked like she woke up and like was just like, this is New York, I do a fucking one. I don't know. But so Suburbia, like, to me, as like, if you want to, you watch Reality Bites, and you can either watch, if you want your brain to melt, you go watch the record store,
Empire Records. Yep.
If you want to hate the world,
Suburbia.
Watch Suburbia.
Yeah,
because it's like just ugh.
Right. I would say if you want the trifecta of like good to okay to movies of this genre, go in this order. Watch Slacker, Singles.
You don't have to watch Reality Bites. No, we can leave it out. It's got to be a better movie that fits that genre. Watch Days Confused.
But that's not of that era.
I get, but it's made in that era. It's made in the 90s.
It's made in that era.
Basketball Diaries.
Wow. Okay. That's a good movie. That's
pre Columbine, where a guy his dreams of going to school and he shoots it. He wears like an overcoat.
Did you ever see Jim Carroll in New York? Didn't he play New York?
I never seen him live, but
yeah,
I knew that was. I didn't like. Yeah, that movie I didn't like.
No, I liked it. Well, look, that came out when like the heroin movies were real big, and I liked it. I think I saw that like around the same. Didn't that movie Basquiat come out around that time?
Movie. Yeah,
that was a much better movie. But
I think that came out later.
There's a couple movies that I kind of lumped together. Yeah. They probably didn't come out exactly at the same time. Like Basquiat, Basketball Diaries, and something else.
There's lots of good movies in this time period.
Yes,
and like maybe like having this discussion about Reality Bites, a movie that I'm not a fan of, will lead to discussing other movies that are much better.
Yeah, well, it's weird. I do think it was kind of fun to do this in the sense that, like we said, this is the first movie we've done where it's just a normal movie. It's a normal movie.
It's not. Yeah, there's not
no aliens, no walrus man,
no no Panda Bubbas,
right?
No Thanos,
nope,
no ants.
It was just a movie.
Just a movie starring Ben Stiller and his giant ears.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Family Guy? You ever watch Family Guy?
Yeah.
Okay, you ever seen the episode with Ben Stiller?
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it's like I can't even play. Like, I wouldn't even know what episode it was, because the episode, you would have the plot, but then there would just be like so many random jokes,
right?
And like cuts, and there would be like cut scenes. Sometimes they would go on forever. Like one time they had like the dancing in the street, or that David Bowie.
Dancing in the Street. Yeah.
When Peter Griffin's like, now it's time to watch the gayest thing ever made.
I remember.
And they literally played the whole video, and I'm just like, holy shit! This is like, I mean, I guess they like paid for it, and they're like, yeah, this probably covers the amount of budget it would be to animate this. It's brilliant. There's a scene where Ben Stiller shows up, and of course he's got massive ears.
Right.
And like there's this, and like Ben Stiller like saves him in a fire or something.
Oh, I don't remember this at all.
And like Ben Stiller's like, I gotta go now, and he flies away, and Peter Griffin just looks at him and goes, he makes terrible movies. I was like, yeah, there's some gems in there.
Yeah.
But most of his movies,
they're
laptop
mostly
in the fire.
Yeah, they're mostly bad. I will say Tropic Thunder, I think, is a classic.
Simple Jack.
Simple Jack. Motherfucking Simple Jack.
Did you see that?
You make my eyes rain.
Simple Jack. Like, anytime I think about that now, like, I would say that. Do you think that movie, well, one, I don't know if the Robert Downey Jr. joke ages very well.
No, a lot of it didn't.
I love the Jack Black though playing. Well, he's playing like clearly like a Chris Farley character.
Yes.
But then like he's in like a Clumps type movie.
Yeah.
And they're just farting. That's like the best part of the movie. And he's like an insane drugged out maniac.
Yeah.
But do you think that movie put a stop to or slowed down the? I'm gonna try to get an Oscar, so I'm gonna be in a movie where I play a mentally.
If so, good for it, you know.
Because I feel I'm sure I'm wrong. I mean, this movie came out in 2008 already.
Well, when did I Am Sam come out?
Oh, I think that's earlier. You're talking about that Sean Penn, right?
Yeah.
I think that's pre.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was so many of those movies, and you get Forrest Gump,
right.
Nellie, or Nell.
Yes.
Even though she's
Jodie
not
Foster.
mentally, but she's like stunted
in that ballpark. Yeah.
She was like living in the woods, and she's like,
Right,
she's like speaking a twin language. You find out,
right?
Yeah, she's like, no, she's not.
I forgot about that.
Disabled.
Yeah.
She's just like a weird twin.
Right. She has half a soul.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what they said, right? That's how twins work.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it might have slowed it down, but then like there's this new movie that came out with John Travolta called Fanatic.
I've seen, yes, that's gotten terrible reviews.
There's some good epic reviews online. I don't ever want to see this movie, but like it's just funny seeing this, and I'm like watching. I'm like, you're not supposed to do this anymore.
No.
I think Tropic Thunder with like Simple Jack, like it was such a joke that like that
it was, yeah.
Put that like let's stop making these movies.
Well, and in a lot of ways, like maybe it's like a little prescient because it does kind of like address the Scarlett Johannesization of like like with Robert Downey Jr. like co-opting a black role. And
well, the joke
like,
that was a joke in the movie that his character was like
right.
They were making fun of like Daniel Day-Lewis when
exactly,
he becomes that character.
Right. Yeah.
So what was he supposed to be like Othello or something? Or he was playing something. And,
right. He was Othello the Moor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I don't know. Well, anyway, we go. Well, maybe we'll do a Ben Stiller.
We really didn't talk much about Reality Bites.
I think so. Anyway, all right.
Well, just go Google.
It's on HBO.
Go Google sexy pictures of Velma.
Yeah,
all right.
right.
I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That with myself, Rob Israel, and Joseph K. Remember, you can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, CastBox, and Podbean. So remember to like and subscribe, share, comment, leave us a basket of fruit or candy. Thank you for listening. All right, later. Bye.